Ladies and gentlemen, I was very fortunate to do pantomime at the Empire. And when you do pantomime, you meet some really, really nice people. But there was somebody that made a great impression on me because I worked with him quite closely. And he played Major Pong. And we got to know each other. And then I thought, there's another side to this guy. So I did some checking and I found out there is another side. So let's say hello to Conleth Kane. Hello, Conleth.
Hello, Pete.
Now, you played Major Pong. We'd never known each other, which is the nicest thing in this industry, isn't it? Because you work with people and then move on to another show and you don't know who people are. And you get the measure of each other when you go to rehearsals. I saw something in you that was a little bit different. You're an incredibly professional person, as were an awful lot there, but there was something very special about you. And then I realised you were very, very famous in Ireland, and I thought it would make a really interesting story. So Conleth is an actor, a singer, and dances. And who are you? Who is Conleth Kane? You became very well known in Ireland. Tell us the story.
Well, that's a lovely introduction, Pete. Thank you very much. I have to say, I really, really loved performing in Liverpool over Christmas. I had the best time ever. Well, basically, I'm just a young lad from a place called Lurgan in Armagh in Northern Ireland, and it's always been my dream to be a professional performer and to perform in musicals and to perform in theatre and television. And I just started out, I was a bit antisocial as a kid, you know, because I was so into my theatre and not many people around me were into that. And especially when you come from somewhere where, like I'm from, it made you a bit of a social reject.
So did that cause problems growing up?
Oh, well, yeah, it did cause a lot of problems. However, I think every, child and adolescent goes through their own social problems growing up, and I definitely had mine. And being into theatre and wanting to be a professional actor and singer and dancer, I definitely think that contributed to me being a social reject growing up where I lived. However, I think it also gave me, I know it's a cliche, but it really gave me a lot of determination to succeed and to be happy and be successful in my chosen career path.
Conleth, were your parents supportive or did they not understand?
Oh, my parents, thank God, were just the most supportive parents that I could have ever asked for, and really just always behind me. And there was at one stage I had to be taken out of a school to be put into another because the bullying got so severe. They literally had to take me out of a school and put me into another. And my parents were really behind me throughout all of that. And then when I hit 16, I left home to go in pursuit of my performance dream. I went to Belfast and lived there for 2 years and did a performance course. And then I auditioned for a drama school in London and got accepted. And now the only thing that happened on my acceptance is that I didn't get awarded a scholarship. And this meant me having to pay £11,000 per year for tuition fees alone. And I had 6 months to raise £11,000 to secure my place for first year. And I thought, you know something, I've worked so hard. I've grew up in a town where it didn't feel accepted. I've been given this opportunity. Julie Andrews, Will Young, Bonnie Langford, all these amazing people have gone through this college, and I've been given a place. I have to raise the money. So I sat down for about a week and I wrote 300 letters to different celebrities, to different companies throughout Northern Ireland, just in the hope that someone would sponsor me to go over. I did fundraising concerts. Me and my friends walked around bars and clubs with buckets telling people, I'm the only person from Ireland to get accepted into this college. Can you throw a few quid in the bucket? And in about 5 months, I raised 12 grand.
Wow. Looking back on that, do you realise how you did it? I mean, that's an amazing feat.
Oh, completely. Like at the time, but for me, there was no option. For me, there was never going to be an 8,000 and 9,000. I always had to hit the 11,000 or the 12,000 to pay off my first year, because I didn't want to go into first year not having paid the full year, and I didn't want to get to a certain point in the year and start to worry because I thought, I haven't paid my final term. But luckily for me, the college recognised my hard work and they awarded me a scholarship in the middle of my training.
Now, you see, what's interesting in that, Conleth, which is great, there'll be a lot of young people listening to this who have a dream, but you followed the dream through. And that's the difference in you and a lot of people. A lot of people have the dreams, but you have to put in the hard work with the dream.
Yeah, of course. And I think a lot of people, looking back on it now, I did some crazy things. Like, I think, now with age and with experience, looking back, I wasn't desperate, but I was so ambitious and so tunnel vision, and I just couldn't believe that I'd been awarded a place and I didn't want anything or anyone to stop me from going.
You see, the X Factor sends out the wrong messages to me, which makes me angry. What you sent out is the right message, because you don't just stand there and become a star overnight. It's all that graft to just even get your foot in the door to then move on to do the rest of it, and that's what's great about, the position you're in. And every moment of every day when you were studying, I bet you never forgot exactly what you were doing there.
Oh, exactly. And I didn't take in 3 years, I didn't take one day off sick, because every day I remember one day in first year I felt really ill, and the college advised me to go home, and all I could think of was someone sponsored me to be here today. And I thought, no, I'll sit in the corner and I'll listen, and I'll wrap myself up in a blanket. And because I didn't want to go home and feel like I'd cheated someone who maybe threw a tenner in the bucket for me. Do you know what I mean? So I never missed a minute.
Conleth, when you become successful, I mean, you're doing incredibly well now, but when you become a big star, will you repay those people away?
Oh, my God. Well, the thing is...
Have you ever thought about that? I mean, I don't particularly mean financially, but some way you would... luckily for me last year, and funny enough when you mentioned the X Factor, last year I did huge reality Irish television show, which was very similar to the Andrew Lloyd Webber cast in television shows. And I got into the live show stages, and I was always slightly against those shows. Like you said, they send out the wrong message and they make people famous overnight. Then 2 weeks later, they're forgotten about. And I always had this in the back of my mind. However, I went on to the Irish reality show bearing in mind that I had trained and I had experience. So I was in the perfect position to put myself on live television, because I knew I could deal with the live shows, with the performances, with the stress. And as a result, I really got local support, and my whole town and everyone, like a lot of people in Northern Ireland, behind me, and I was all of a sudden representing them. And I was the only male in the competition from Northern Ireland, so I was all over the papers. I was in all the magazines, and posters of me in towns and on lampposts, vote for Conleth. And my community really came out of the woodwork, and all of a sudden I was representing all these people who had invested in me years ago. And it was a bit like going on this reality show and getting to the stage that I got to was a big repayment to them who put all of that money into me years ago, because they could sit at home every Sunday night, week after week after week, and watch me perform and get through to the next week. And it was a really special time for me. How did you do?
I came fourth.
Not bad, eh?
Yeah, no, it was great. I had the most amazing time. I really did. And you forget that I was performing to 2 million people live every Sunday night on time. But to me, I was just performing to the people in the room. I forgot about all those people that were watching at home, sitting at home. Then I would go backstage into my dressing room, and I'd have like 67 text messages, like straight after I come off television. And my Facebook wall would have been completely written over for hours, and it was just an amazing time. It really was.
Conleth, what's show business like and the world of theatre like over in Ireland?
I mean, the argument is the reason I had to come to London, and there's no training ground in Ireland. All the drama schools are in London. There's nowhere for you to, there's no performing arts college or drama schools. So the people who are serious about going into theatre, musical theatre, television, anything like that, they have to go across the water. I mean, it's hard for a lot of people who have to leave home at such a young age. For me, I just saw the goal and I saw the dream, and I was like, I'm going to go wherever it takes me to get here. But for a lot of people, it's very daunting leaving home at 18.
You're a realist. You're not a stupid man. You know how hard the business is. Explain to everybody, now you're at the stage you're at, how hard it is, because this also is part of the dream, because you can never give up. But there's many times you could give up.
Oh, completely. I mean, do you know something, Pete? But you have the best experiences. I mean, for example, I was speaking to my sister 3 nights ago on the phone, and I was saying to her, do you know something, Edel? If I retired tomorrow or give up the performing industry tomorrow, I have had some amazing memories, like touring the world with Beauty and the Beast, singing with Pink. I did a duet with Pink, and it's all over YouTube. And doing the reality show, or being in Casualty, or having Christmas dinner with Pamela Anderson. All these little things, just don't happen to every average day person. So if I were to give up tomorrow, or if for some unfortunate reason I couldn't continue as a performer, I am really, really happy to say that the industry has given me some amazing memories to take throughout my life.
Conleth, how do you deal? Because it was the same for me when I was a stand-up comic on the road for many years. How do you yourself deal with the time in between jobs? Because there's no security in our industry at all, is there?
Oh, not at all. And that's the scariest part. But you know something? It's more scary for the people around you who care for you, because I always find my sisters or my mum and dad call me, like, if it's been like a month or so and I haven't, been in a performance job, and they worry for me more than I worry, because I've accepted that's the way it is.
Yeah. And
because they're in steady work and they've had an income or a wage every week, and it's a weekly wage for them, and because I'm self-employed and because I'm in a very fickle industry, I've really, really prepared myself for the falls.
I'm talking to Conleth Kane, who I met through the pantomime. He played Major Pong and got rave reviews when he did play Major Pong. Down in London, there are many, many people like yourself, incredibly talented, after the same job. Difficult one, isn't it?
Oh my God, it's really hard. I mean, for example, I've just found out that I didn't get the UK tour of Dirty Dancing. Now, a little story here. This is my 3rd year getting down to the last few boys. Last year, I was in the final with Ray Quinn from Liverpool, but I couldn't make the final because of the volcanic ash in the sky. Now, that prevented me from getting a year's work, just a fluke in nature. And this year, I could have been too short. I might look a bit older than I did last year. You never, ever know the real reason.
How do you deal with the disappointment?
I used to get really, I think I remember telling you a story that when I first graduated, I had 12 auditions for the Lord of the Rings musical when it came into London. And I think when you get, you've just graduated from college and you've had 12 auditions for a show, and everyone around you is telling you that that's, practically 99% you've got the job, and your hopes are raised, and then all of a sudden you get a call from your agent to say, do you know something, you didn't get it, and then you just literally fall. I think, I think I've really learned, I've learned to deal with that, and I think it's really healthy that I've now got to the stage where I just go, okay, book closed, move on to the next one, because I think if you dwell, there's nothing dwelling is going to do but make you more stressed, and nothing's worth being stressed over.
I think the best thing that's happened while you're in the business right now is that the theatres are now taking more and more touring shows, the big shows from the West End, which has never happened over the years. You know, they had the odd one, but now there's a lot out there. Legally Bronze is out there, Dirty Dancing. There's a lot. So there is more work, isn't it, on tour?
Yeah, and that's the beauty. When I graduated like 5 years ago, my first job was UK tour of Joseph, and I had the most amazing time going around the UK and just going to cities like Liverpool and Birmingham and Glasgow and all these cities I've never been to, and getting to perform in the most beautiful theatres. It was really amazing. And then the year after with Beauty and the Beast, I went round, and then we got to go to Malaysia, got to go to Ireland, and again go around all those amazing cities in the UK. I love tourism. I'm single. I'm young. I don't have a mortgage, and for me, life on tour is just incredible because I've no responsibility. I think it's different if you're a mother or a father and you're in a tour and you've got children at home. It becomes a bit annoying. 3 or 4 months down the line, you just might want to be home. But for someone like me, being on the road and constantly being in a different city every week is just a dream.
Who were your influences while you were growing up?
Pete Price, you know the answer to this one.
But it's not just one, surely.
No, there's quite a few.
Well, who's the one you're talking about?
Actually, she's from Liverpool herself, and I just had this memory. My aunt Margie came to see me in the live shows of Fame last year, the reality show, and she grabbed me after the results show, and she says, "Conleth, I'll never forget how excited you used to get when Cilla Black used to come on the TV." And it brought back literally about 18 years of my life, and just me thinking, oh God, I literally could imagine me sitting in my lounge on a Saturday night, 4 years of age, just getting so excited that Cilla Black was on the TV.
Wow.
I knew Pete Price.
Well, yeah,
got her to phone me at Christmas.
Well, but there was a reason for that. It was very, very sad, and I was really upset for you. We had all the problems with the snow and the bad weather, and you were really excited. Your family were coming over, and they couldn't because the flights were cancelled. So I wanted to cheer you up, and I said, Cilla's on the phone for you.
That really did. I remember that day, sitting in the dressing room, I was so deflated. And the thing that really got to me is that the seats in the Empire that my family were meant to be sitting in were empty. I just wanted them to be filled. It was like the third row of the Empire stalls, and they were all empty. And then I just remember you knocking on the door, and you walking in, and I knew exactly who you were going to put the phone on, who was going to be on the phone. And it really, really cheered me up. And I was on a high for about. And I remember Jalenga, who played the Slave of the Ring, shed a tear because she thought it was so lovely.
And they eventually got over and saw the panto.
Yeah, they got over a few days after Christmas, and they had a brilliant time.
Tell me, how do you deal with, because I always go away after pantomime because I get very sad. I never say goodbye. I think when it's been a happy show, I find it very hard to cope.
Well, I'm just the most dramatic person. I mean, anyone who's ever worked with me in any job knows not to come near me on the last day. I remember when Beauty and the Beast, I was in that show for a year, and we did our last show in Cambridge, and when the curtain came down, everyone danced off stage, and I just fell to the floor in tears. I'm just the biggest baby when it comes to a show finishing because I really genuinely have an amazing time, and I love my job. And it's not going to last forever. You know, when you're an actor and you get a year's contract, it is a year. There is a date in the calendar when the job's going to finish, and you make so many good friends and close relationships, and you're being paid for what you love to do, and then in a split second it's all over.
Conleth, it's been fabulous talking to you. To finish off, I'd like you to use the airways and be as serious as you want to give some advice to people who are hopefuls out there.
Do you know something? I just think I am from a little town in Ireland called Lurgan, and there was a lot of conflict when I was growing up, a lot of Northern Ireland associated troubles where I grew up, and there was never any window of opportunity there, and all I wanted to do was be a performer. I never really got to see any live theatre as a child. All I got to see was the television, and I just really dreamed of going to London, of singing and dancing and acting and really pursuing my dream. And even when my dream came to me, when I got accepted into the college, there was a real halt for me to overcome, and I had to raise a lot of money. And I think if you put your mind to anything, you really can achieve it. And for me at the time, it could have been impossible, but I made it possible. And I just think that if you want an opportunity, please go and get it, because you don't want to look back in years to come and regret anything.
Conleth Kane, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks, Pete.